Welcome back to High Stakes, where we help you elevate your betting strategy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our daily content. Looking for exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join us on Patreon. Links are available in the comments section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. Oh, look, it's the Iowa versus Missouri showdown, also known as the Music City Bowl of questionable offenses. Nashville's big moment features two teams limping into the game, missing half their starters. But hey, we're still calling it football. Iowa, fresh off a thrilling 13-10 win over Nebraska, cue the sarcasm, is bringing back Brady Sullivan. Because what's better than a QB with 344 passing yards all season? Caleb Johnson? Gone. But don't worry, Iowa's got someone to replace him. Their defense, though, is legit. They'll sack the QB, snag interceptions, and look like they're playing a different sport than their offense. Meanwhile, Missouri strolls in with a 9-3 record, missing 3 of their top 4 receivers, their QB's bodyguards, aka the offensive line, and a few other random guys for good measure. Brady Cook's only hope is to throw to, well, whoever's left. The Tigers' run game? Serviceable, but definitely not enough to escape the Hawkeyes' defensive gauntlet. Oh, and Missouri's defense? Decent, sure, but not exactly built to save the day when the offense is missing half the playbook. Prediction time: Iowa gets plus 2.5 points. Honestly, both offenses will struggle like kids learning algebra, but Iowa's defense will make life extra miserable for Mizzou. Plus, their offensive line can drag anyone into competence, maybe even Sullivan. As for the total, take the under. These teams combined couldn't hit 40.5 points if you gave them 2 games to do it. It's going to be a masterclass in punting, turnovers, and field goals. The final score might look more like a baseball game than a bowl game. Now for my props. Iowa defensive/special teams touchdown, yes. Let's call it what it is. Iowa's defense is the real offense on this team. Forget Brady Sullivan trying to throw a spiral. The Hawkeyes' defense might as well grab the ball themselves and save us all the pain of watching Iowa's offense stall out for the millionth time. And honestly, can you blame them? It's like watching someone attempt to start a fire with wet wood. Lots of effort, 0 results. Missouri's offensive line is looking like Swiss cheese with all the holes left by missing starters. Brady Cook's going to spend more time on the ground than upright. And even when he's up, he'll probably be throwing into double coverage because his top receivers are sitting at home. If you're betting against Iowa's defense finding the end zone, you're betting against gravity at this point. And let's not forget special teams. Iowa's punting is practically an art form at this point, and their ability to flip the field could lead to some hilarious short field scenarios for Missouri. A block punt? A fumbled kickoff return? It's all on the table. With Iowa's defense and special teams this hungry, the scoreboard might light up without their offense even stepping foot on the field. In a game destined to be remembered for its lack of offensive firepower, Iowa's defense and special teams have the perfect recipe for a touchdown. A QB under constant duress, a patchwork O-line, and an opponent missing key offensive pieces. Destiny isn't just knocking, it's breaking down the door. Missouri team total, under 20 points. Missouri's offense is like a bad game of Jenga. Each missing piece makes it wobblier, and now it's on the verge of a full-blown collapse. Brady Cook is out there trying to play find the receiver like it's an impossible level of Where's Waldo, except in this version, Waldo is on the injury list, and the offensive line is made of wet spaghetti. Cook's top receivers? Poof, gone. His offensive line? Held together with duct tape and prayers. And now he gets to stare down Iowa's defense, a unit that treats opposing quarterbacks like chew toys. Scoring 20 points on the Hawkeyes? That's not a challenge. That's a fever dream. You might as well ask them to outrun a cheetah or solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. And let's be real, this Iowa defense is not the kind you figure out over 4 quarters. They're the kind that turns promising drives into embarrassing highlight reels of sacks, fumbles, and interceptions. Even if Missouri somehow cobbles together a decent run game, which feels about as likely as winning the lottery, it won't be enough to crack the Hawkeye fortress. The kicker? Missouri's offense isn't just facing a great defense. They're battling their own demons too. With so many missing pieces, every snap looks like it could end in disaster. A fumbled exchange here, a hurried throw into triple coverage there. It's a recipe for a train wreck. So go ahead, bet the under. Missouri scoring 20 points on this Iowa defense is about as realistic as a rom-com plotline. Sit back, enjoy the comedy of errors, and watch as Iowa's defense keeps the Tigers stuck in neutral all game long. Brady Sullivan passing yards, under 150.5. Brady Sullivan throwing for more than 150 yards? Oh, that's rich. Iowa's offensive game plan is about as daring as a coloring book. It's all about staying within the lines. Hand the ball off, run it into a brick wall, punt it away, and then pray that the defense or special teams can pull off something miraculous. If Sullivan actually breaks 150 passing yards, it's either a sign of the apocalypse or Missouri's secondary decided to play with blindfolds on. Let's remember who we're talking about here. Sullivan has a grand total of 344 passing yards this entire season. That's not a typo. If Iowa gave out game balls for passing excellence, his might come with an asterisk and a participation ribbon. Expecting him to hit 150.5 yards in a single game? That's like expecting a toddler to pole vault. It's ambitious, but wildly unrealistic. And it's not like Iowa's offensive scheme is doing him any favors. Their playbook is basically a collection of safe plays that scream, "Don't screw this up." Screens, short dumps, and the occasional Hail Mary that has no business being thrown. This is Sullivan's bread and butter. When your offensive philosophy is more conservative than a 90-year-old at a rock concert, the idea of airing it out for significant yardage is laughable. Plus, there's the small issue of Missouri's defense. While not exactly an elite unit, they're still competent enough to keep Sullivan in check. The Tigers might be missing some pieces, but they can still manage to pressure a quarterback who spends most of the game looking for the nearest safe outlet. Sullivan under pressure is like a deer in headlights, except the deer might have a better escape plan. So, unless this game turns into some bizarre world shootout where Sullivan starts channeling his inner Tom Brady, spoiler, he won't. There's no way he's sniffing 150.5 passing yards. Take the under, sit back, and marvel at the art of Iowa's offensive ineptitude. Sullivan's stat line will likely read more like a box score from 1952 than a modern-day quarterback performance. Total sacks, both teams over 4.5. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the real stars of the show, sacks. Forget touchdowns, highlight reel catches, or anything resembling offensive competence. This game will be a celebration of quarterbacks hitting the turf faster than you can say Music City Bowl. Total sacks over 4.5? That's not just a safe bet, it's practically a spoiler. Let's start with Iowa's defense, which is basically an elite task force dedicated to hunting down quarterbacks. Brady Cook is going to spend most of this game running for his life like he owes Iowa's defense money, and they're not interested in setting up a payment plan. With Missouri's offensive line looking more like a group of overworked, understaffed mall security guards, Iowa's defensive front should have no problem busting through and introducing themselves to Cook. Expect sacks, strip sacks, and maybe even the kind of hits that make you wonder why anyone would willingly play quarterback. But don't sleep on Missouri's defense. They're not about to let Iowa hog all the sack-happy glory. Brendan Sullivan isn't exactly known for his elusiveness, and Iowa's offensive line isn't winning any awards for protection. If anything, it's a contest to see which O-line folds faster under pressure. Missouri's defensive unit might not be world-class, but against an Iowa offense that treats passing like it's a last resort, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to pad their sack stats. Let's face it, both offensive lines are about as sturdy as wet cardboard. This isn't a game, it's a sack buffet, and everyone's invited. The over-under for total sacks could have been set at 8.5, and it would still feel achievable. These quarterbacks will spend so much time on their backs, they might as well bring pillows. This game isn't just about football, it's about survival. Brady Cook and Brendan Sullivan are likely already preparing their post-game ice baths because they're going to need them. So go ahead, take the over on 4.5 sacks, and enjoy the defensive slugfest that will probably make the offensive coordinators rethink their career choices. Longest touchdown, under 35.5 yards. Let's not kid ourselves. Neither team is hitting a big play here. Iowa doesn't even believe in the forward pass, and Missouri's big play threats are all sitting at home, probably watching this circus unfold on TV. The only way we see a 35-yard touchdown is if the defense scores and gets tired of running. First scoring play, field goal. Touchdowns? In this game? Don't be ridiculous. The first scoring play will almost certainly be a field goal because both teams will stall in the red zone faster than a teenager learning to drive stick. Get ready for some exhilarating special teams action, folks. Total turnovers. Both teams over 2.5. Between Iowa's generous offense and Missouri's Brady Cook playing behind a non-existent O-line, turnovers will be falling from the sky like confetti on New Year's Eve. Fumbles, interceptions. This game's got it all, except competent offense. Bonus prop, most valuable player, the punter. Let's give a shout out to the real stars of this game, the punters. They're going to be putting in overtime as both offenses stall out drive after drive. If there were a prop for most punts over 50 yards, take it. Betting on this game is less about predicting football and more about embracing the absurdity. So sit back, enjoy the punting extravaganza, and watch as these two teams redefine the phrase defensive battle. And that's a wrap on today's video, folks. I'm sure you're absolutely on the edge of your seat, eagerly awaiting the next thrilling installment of this channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because clearly you don't want to miss any of our daily videos. I mean, who could live without them? And while you're at it, smash that notification bell, so you can be the first to know when we drop more gems like this. Oh, and if you're looking for some premium picks, because let's be honest, who isn't? Join our Patreon. It's where the real magic happens. Premium picks, insider info, and possibly even some mildly entertaining banter. So hit that link and we'll see you on the inside. Until next time, enjoy the game, make those bets, and remember, you're welcome.